this week we have the amazing founders of Obvi with us. It's a real honor to have Ron and Ash, CEO, CMO, co-founders of Obvi. Everyone, I'm going to give a virtual round of applause. So on this episode, we're going to be talking about, I have a lot of questions, and audience, you have questions too, put them in the comments, feel free to ask your questions. But before we get into things like the quiz and the ads, I think probably very important to just introduce everyone to the story. Like, what is Obvi and how did it begin?
It's a great question, and I think Ron tells it the best. Ron?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for us, before I quickly jump into Obvi, for us, myself and Ash, we got our starting to work at a supplement brand back in 2012, 2013, which was a company called Shreds. And, that's where we kind of got the gateway into being in this health and wellness and nutrition category. You often say the category or the company you first work with out of college somehow is an industry you stick with. And it's an industry we ended up sticking with after working together at that brand and building it up to almost 9 figures. We were able to go and start our own marketing agency with a third partner. We ran that marketing agency for about 5 years. We focused on being a boutique agency that served other health and wellness brands to grow digitally. So, we got experience working at a brand, got to work with many brands. And then 2019 came around and we said, you know what, it's time to get a chance at building our own brand. We built Obvi on the basis of what not to do. We took all our learnings from, marketing agency and previous brand that we worked at and said, what are some things we should avoid? And let's build a brand off of that. We wanted to stay in the health and wellness space. So Obvi is it's a pink, loud, eccentric, fun, tasty brand that was built to help, a group of demographic that is trying to find a fun way to take health and wellness under their arms. And, our biggest piece is how to bring beauty, weight loss, wellness, all in under one category. And that's what Obvi truly is. It's the obvious choice for beauty, wellness, and weight loss. Anything to add?
I think it was perfect. I think, one of the things that, we like to kind of pride ourselves on is collagen in general, before we kind of hit the space, was such a boring niche to be in, right? I mean, shout out to all the top dogs that are out there right now, but collagen just came across as this like medicinal product that do I really have to take it? And we just wanted to make it fun. We wanted to make it tasty, something that you wanted to take every day, not that you had to take. So, kind of going in on that preventative rather than like reactive mentality is something that we always wanted to kind of accomplish. And I think we did a pretty good job at it with the branding and our flavoring.
So I love the tagline in your Twitter bio about like building it, bootstrapping it over 30 months. So let's start with like how it began, and especially kind of like, you had a choice probably, like you could bootstrap, you could not bootstrap it. What's the decision behind that? Or was there not even a decision? And how do you go from like that first 0 to 1, like get that first customer, like maybe a little bit of the origin?
Yeah, I mean, because we had that experience, right? Ron mentioned we were a marketing agency prior to starting Obvi, so I think we had the leg up on the competition in terms of we didn't really need to figure out marketing. We kind of already knew what to do and what was working at the time. So I think we had a check for $10,000. We put in an order for some product. Set some money aside for marketing, built a website, and we just started launching ads on Facebook, right? This is obviously way before TikTok started to kind of become the massive hit that it is right now. And prior to iOS updates, so running ads was a little bit easier at the time. So we did a little bit of Facebook ads, Instagram. We had like 1 or 2 influencers at the time. So literally running ads and running some whitelisting ads through some influencers, and we got it to a point where we sold out in 2 weeks, I believe. And luckily, we were also partnering with some mom and pop shops, on the retail side. So I would say right off the bat, we were profitable. So as we were profitable, we would continue to kind of, reorder more flavors, more inventory, as we were seeing more success on those ends. And, we just from our knowledge and previous knowledge, we were able to kind of stay profitable and lean too, because a lot of these startups, they need a graphic designer, they need a marketing agency, they need all of these things, which we were able to and lucky enough to have in-house just between the three of us founders.
Follow up. How do you even manage that workload? Because that's a lot of ads between the three founders in the beginning.
Yeah, I think part of it was even linking back to why we even had to stay bootstrapped, right? Was we knew what our expertise and what we're good at, but we also knew and are very we expose this a lot. We also know what we're not good at. We're not VC people. We don't know how to raise capital. We haven't gone down that journey. And so for us, it wasn't like, oh, let's be bootstrapped. I think that would be the right decision. It was, we didn't have a choice. And we've always heard the nightmares of selling out too early or giving up equity too early. So part of it was all of this ecosystem forced us to figure things out. Even getting into our first mom and pop, like Ash mentioned, or like that day one of running ads, and saying this has to work from day one. Right. So the creative had to be extra special, the copy, all the pieces had to be so instrumental, because we were in such a make it or break it phase where, all right, this is our one go at it. And we're not people that we were in a position where, I'm still not, but we weren't flush with cash to back this, that $10,000 PO, we're all in studio apartments, so us putting $3,300 each into this at that time was like crushing, because you're like, wait, what if? So you had to manage the workload. It wasn't even like how it was, you didn't have a choice. So, building that website, and Ash running the ads from day one, and us getting even a photographer that was willing to kind of take a bet on us and say, hey, I'll do the first 5 photos for you free. Right. But I want to make sure that I can follow your journey if you guys grow. I think we also got the right people to trust us and build with us. So I think each piece kind of came together. But working on this, there was no choice. And it's always been kind of us three working on pieces. So, and I think that's one of the key fundamentals of having the right founder group sometimes too, because we were 3 people that had 3 very distinct skill sets. So that helps with coverage and bandwidth.
So, we're going to go back and we're going to dive deep into it. But I'd be remiss if I didn't ask a little bit about the ads, because actually talk a lot about that. Talk to maybe a little bit about the difference about running ads when you first started versus now, and the things that have changed. Because you mentioned, where a lot of us are here because of iOS 14.5, iOS 15, all the changes. So yeah, I can see the smile on your face.
Yeah, I genuinely miss those days a lot. Things were a lot easier. Costs were a little bit easier to swallow. I think the biggest thing, even for some of the brands now, it's the buzzword is just content and testing, right? Creative and testing, and that's the cycle that everyone has to go through. When we first started, I think we set our budget at $50, $100 a day, and we're like, all right, let's just test as much as we can. In those days, you really could, right? Because you could actually tell what was working within the first couple of days. Now it's you have to wait a whole 7 days for data to even come back into the ad account to even make a decision. So I think back in the day, it was a little bit easier to test more in a smaller time frame with a smaller budget, versus now where you kind of have to dedicate a little bit more time, a little bit more resources, and budget to see what's actually working or making an impact on, you know, your top line and bottom line. But yeah, I mean, it was a simpler time back then. Just purely based off of like just the ease in which you can actually analyze the data that you were seeing.
So how are you trying to adapt now? Because you know, that's something that I know you may have been trying out, you know, quizzes or things, but what are you experimenting with now to try to like you know, drive more people and like make the ad strategy work?
Yeah, so I think we really felt it after the update. We were working with a ton of influencers, you know, whitelisting pages, and that was our core strategy. Like I would say 75% of our ads were just influencer marketing, whitelisted on Facebook, Instagram, 25% just branded ads. What we realized quickly is that we would need more creative on a more frequent level compared to prior to the update. So our testing capability wasn't as high as it should have been, right? So around that October, November, like a few months after, you know, so iOS stuff was happening and the full effect was being felt across the board, we really needed to like up our creative testing. We couldn't rely on these influencers to kind of get us things on a weekly cadence without spending more money. And we were at the time where we just had to figure things out and how to stabilize after this whole update. So kind of brought everything back in house. And two levers that we really focused on were landing pages, whether that be sales landing pages, for any product that was at our top of the funnel, you know, including quizzes, editorials, things like that. We tested a wide range of like just different landers just to find one that was like, okay, this has like a solid conversion rate. Let's start making iterations of this. So that was one side of the puzzle. Part two was having an amazing offer that people just can't refuse, because right now I feel like, and there's going to be marketers that disagree or maybe agree with this, but because of like how things are, we want to get people to convert on day one, right? So what we want to do is we want to have that offer that you can't really refuse without devaluing the brand, right? Without, like, instead of discounting heavily, how can we add value on top of, you know, what they're coming to order, which is like a collagen protein, right? So, you know, Ron kind of found manufacturers that would help us produce value add items like shaker cups, funnels, drawstring bags, tote bags, things that like were perceived value to add on to that initial order. So, you know, come to the website, you get X amount off, but you'll get up to 4 free gifts if you make an order, right? And we're in a very competitive market. So like when you see one ad for collagen, you're probably seeing 10 others and they're all running 30% off, 40% off, buy two, get one free. Like you have to stand out within your competition. And I think that was one of the biggest things that we did, which was we didn't want to discount too much, but we gave value in other ways, whether it was free gifts or other free supplementary products. So that was two. So offer, landing page, and then ads. I mean, we like really doubled down on our creative process where we're pumping out 30 to 40 pieces of creative a week to test on Facebook. And we're rapidly going through this week after week. You know, we set these tests up on Facebook and TikTok. Whatever works after 7 days or has like an inkling of working, great. Let's start moving that to like, you know, scaling campaigns. But like the following week, we got 40 more creatives to start testing. And somebody put out a study this morning, actually, I can't remember who it was, but they found a correlation between the amount of testing and the actual like average ROAS that you would have. So the more that you're testing, the more stability that you would find. And I think a lot of people are not testing enough because they're relying on like the singular ad or post ID to like last them months, where some do, but majority don't. So you need to have, you know, ads that are ready to go and like in your creative bank that you could just, you know, deploy when you start to see fatigue. So I think creative, landing page, offer, you know, all those three things are super crucial on top of an already a winning product per se. So yeah.
Let's break down, because you mentioned kind of three pillars there. I want to talk about them. I also want to talk about the products, product line, I know there was a tweet about 3PLs, some other stuff I want to go into, but let's dive a little bit deeper onto like the ads. How do you come up with good creative? And I may just be like, if you have any you could show, that would be awesome too. But like, what's that process for like finding good creative and testing it out and figuring out what will actually work?
So we have three graphic designers, a videographer, a video editor. Um, I'm more of a data analyst slash media buyer. I will kind of look at the data and see what's working, and then kind of come up with a strategy to give to these guys and say, all right, here's what's working, here's why I think it's working. Let's make iterations, right? So when it comes down to the actual like what makes a good creative, I can't tell you, because one creative that works today could be so different from another creative that works like next week. The biggest thing that I've kind of like drilled in my head, and I'm trying to drill in others, is that your ads are doing the targeting, right? We go straight up broad on the audience on TikTok and Facebook. We're literally making the ad do the targeting. So when you think with that mindset, the way that you create or design an ad changes, right? So like if something's kind of, you're scrolling, you got to make sure that ad has elements in it that is pulling out the exact audience that you want, right? So like what we'll do is either, I don't think people are like reading headline copies anymore or ad copies. They're literally just scanning the images that kind of scroll past them. So all of their main elements have to be on the graphic rather than relying on people reading our ad copy. I think those are all secondary now. Like headline and ad copy are all secondary to the main piece of content, because that's what's going to kind of catch the eye and pull out that exact audience. So, for our collagen, we want to make sure that we have specific call outs on the ad that would pertain to our target demographic, and make sure if they see that, that's what they're going to resonate with, and make them kind of stop and then read the ad copy, read the headline. Okay, cool. I'm somewhat interested. Let me click and see what's going on here, and go through that post click experience. But yeah, I mean, once you kind of find those winners by doing that and thinking that way, then you start making iterations and, different variations, and, maybe turning some of them into GIFs and giving some of the PSDs that the graphic designers create and giving that to the video editor to make the images animated and things like that. So there's no clear answer on what makes a good creative, because it could differ day to day, week to week. But I think thinking in the way of the ad does the targeting, how do you add elements to that to pull out your target demographic or target audience?
Is there anything, I guess, like one more on the creative itself? Like if it's images, is there anything specific that really makes an ad stand out? Is it about the product? Is it about the colors? Is it just about variety? Is it video? Is it static?
Yeah.
Is it the two of you doing TikTok dances?
I think what we've seen recently is a lot of static images do well, and the ads that we're running on TikTok, running them as videos on Facebook. Those two things have been doing very well for us. I think the way people use these social media platforms is changing drastically with TikTok in the equation now. I think people go to TikTok to consume video. I think people are on Facebook to consume other information, whether that be news or whatever it is. I don't think people are on Facebook to watch videos anymore, which is why we kind of transitioned to more static. But to really answer your question, I think it's tough to say like which pieces and what elements work, because one day we'll have like, the product and then a bright color in the background and some call outs on the image, which will crush. And then the next day, a product render with a white background will crush too. So it's really like when people say like test everything, that like you should really test everything, even the stuff that goes against your core beliefs. Like the whole branding is bright and pink and it's like it screams at you, but like sometimes the images that are kind of more mellow do well as well. So you gotta test you gotta test almost everything, because you don't know what's gonna work or resonate with a certain audience. So having multiple cast like a wide net of creatives and different styles is the only way that you can win and find multiple winners rather than just testing what you think is going to win. Because 9 times out of 10, it's not the things that you think are going to win. It's the ones that you're like, oh, hell no, there's no way.
So I know you're also, and then by the way, Ron, I have some questions for you in a second, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into this because I know you've been experimenting with a quiz funnel and trying to like optimize once they get to the page. So I would love to both like hear how you're thinking about that, what the results have looked like so far, and if you have anything to screen share like your quiz, we'd love to see it too.
So quiz. So you want to talk about
I think I mean, we can show you the quiz too, but the crux of the quiz, I think is, you know, sometimes when you think about even just the word quiz, right? It's like, okay, you're asking someone in hopes to get some sort of result, right? And I think for us, it's becoming more and more a pathway to a journey. And we've used it as ways where, you know, again, quiz and result has been kind of the typical way to think about it, but we're using it more as like, okay, we're going to get somebody to go down this journey to learn about them more, right? And so we ask certain questions, we can use that data to backfill through emails, SMS, and stuff like that. But so you have this journey through different questions. And then of course, at the end, you're giving them a result tied to whatever they have answered. And that piece gives you the whole, okay, here's a result. Now we hope that you buy. But even if they don't, you've learned so much from them. And sometimes it's feeding so many different data points for us, right? Even just product exploration end, right? Like we're able to make decisions on like, okay, a lot of people are just not interested in more weight loss stuff, right? We have one weight loss product. That's what they're all navigating to. We don't need to come out with secondary and tertiary weight loss products. Let's focus more on beauty stuff, right? Because we can start seeing where people are navigating to. And so the quiz has been a good tool. Again, what most people look at it as is, okay, let me provide an easy way to get a sale to the customer by asking a couple of questions to make it seem like it's a custom experience. And yes, we do all of that. But for us, I think the back end data of learning about our customer and learning about our business, it's almost like a more static form of our community, right? That's truly what it is being able to ask questions and get so many more data points than we've been used to.
Try to pull up the.
You want to share it?
Yeah, let me share it. So
Yes, screen share should be working.
What we decided we were gonna do is, so we kind of analyzed our traffic, right? We had a landing page that did very well for us. What we noticed is that even though I would say 90% of the traffic is coming to our landing pages from paid, half of the conversions are happening from the homepage, right? So what we decided is we wanted to kind of redo the entire homepage in a way that flows a little bit better than our current or our previous, which was more product-based, more built for retention. So, you know, we kind of rebuilt our homepage. You know, we start off with, you know, the main offer that's going on for the day, some of our key, you know, elements to the brand. You know, if you want to come and shop by, you know, specific goals, you could do that. Really highlighting some of our best sellers. And then if you still don't know where to go, take the quiz, right? So we have this main section that's on our homepage, go straight to our quiz. So guys, this is our first rendition of the quiz. It's still, you know, we're still optimizing it and making tweaks, but basically we're just trying to figure out, I think a lot of main questions that customers have are, where do I even start? What products do I take? What do I need for the stuff that you know, my goals that I'm trying to achieve? So, you know, get started, you know, you go in, what's your name? You know, what is your goal, right? So from our product line, you know, we have a lot of products that can kind of tackle different goals, whether it's, you know, beauty, weight loss, energy, and just overall, right? So, you know, say I want more energy throughout my day, right? You know, and you fill out a lot of this data where you can kind of now on our end, on the back end, start segmenting accordingly, right? You know, what do you like to do? You know, I love to travel, spend time in the sun, watch TV, you know, any dietary restrictions, you know, I do intermittent fasting. How active am I? Somewhat active. How would you describe your diet? I sometimes make healthy choices. How much water? You know, at least half a gallon. Am I a coffee drinker? Yes, can't function without it. And then, you know, some more stuff like what else do you consume? So tea, water, energy drinks, smoothies, da da da. Continue, right? Drop your email. Of course, I want a discount code. Why not? Calculating a result. It literally, how quick was that? It was like 60 seconds, right? Based on your choices, we have, so we have to fix this. See what I mean? So based on your choices, what we do on our end is that based on, I think, 2 or 3 key answers, we have choices for that. The other questions are more so for our back end, where we segment on SMS and email so that we can tailor certain, you know, content to them. So for this, you know, I was looking for more energy. These 3 products are amazing, right? Our Collagenic Burn is a fat burning, collagen infused fat burning capsules, which, you know, has caffeine in it, gets people through their day. Hello, goodbye. Hello is really good for non-stim energy, clean energy through the day. And Superfood Pinks is great for just overall gut health and well-being. And straight from here, you can add to cart and, you know, you're on your way to check out. So I think what we've seen from this, at least the initial data, is that there's like about an 80% completion rate. I think we have to do a better job at driving more traffic to the quiz, because I think for the amount of traffic that we have, we're still trying to funnel them into the quiz. But I mean, so far so good, you know, 80% completion rate. You know, people are buying based off of what's going on here. But the biggest thing that we're excited about is being able to segment on the back end with, you know, the characteristics that we're getting from them. You know, if they're, you know, if they want something without caffeine, then why are we sending them emails with caffeine infused products, right? If they are super active, maybe we're gonna suggest, you know, a certain product too, and then it also helps us develop our product roadmap too.
Yeah, that part is huge too. You know, you hear so many people always ask the one question is like, how did you decide what to come out with next? And or how do you figure out innovation, or how do you figure out product pipeline and launches and this and that? And part of this is, especially with the quiz, you can get so creative with vanity questions. And these vanity questions sometimes are put in there because it puts off the effect that, oh, wow, they're asking me so many custom questions. And it's great because on the customer facing end, okay, you're creating this really great experience, but on the back end, you're really using these vanity questions for data to understand, oh, wow, so many of our consumers, you know, watch TV. We really need to get into functional food and snacks, you know, because imagine now they could have collagen snacks at their fingertips. And you can use these vanity questions again in double format for both sides of the business. And I think for us, the community and the quiz are truly the reason we're able to take sure bets at product launches.
I have a couple more questions, but we got a couple audience questions I want to make sure we ask, which I think it's Equil, but forgive me if I pronounced it correctly. Like, is there a reason that you stuck to 10 questions they ask? I'm curious too.
I think just so that one, it's consumable for the consumer. I might actually change it to 9 or 11, because a good friend of mine, Cody, suggested that an odd number is probably the better bet, because it's like, I don't know, I guess people could just consume that better. But yeah, honestly, just so that it's short, it's succinct, it's not overwhelming. Probably I would go 9 to 11, to be honest.
That makes sense. And what we've seen is asking more questions does not actually decrease conversion rates. Oftentimes it can increase. Obviously, don't ask like 20 plus, but it gives more confidence to somebody that they're going to have an answer. And a longer funnel is not necessarily bad, as we know from Cody and Jones Road. And I will say I like the other comment that just came in, which is like could be added to the menu bar. We see that work out really well too. So I'm super curious at some point, you know, to like, actually, I'll ask this question, like, what plans, like, do you have other plans like for continual improvements to your quiz, to your funnel? and, for the growth of your zero-party data strategy, let's say?
I'll talk about the ads end.
Yeah.
So at least on the ads end, right? For anybody who follows me on Twitter, I don't really like having a retargeting strategy. I really think everything happens on like the top of the funnel, but there are good places to kind of keep that quiz as an ad in the ad, right? So, running, hey, like, are you, interested in Obvi, don't know where to start, kind of toss that in, and it does well. I think we also like to run it in other channels like Snapchat, Pinterest, and then YouTube, which are, we want to stay top of mind and have that omni-channel presence. So using those channels where we can't necessarily produce a return on top of the funnel, use those for retargeting, and then use the ads as the content, right? So it's like unsure about where to start, take the quiz. And then obviously driving traffic to our landing pages. Like I said, half the conversions happen on the website. Having more entry points on the homepage is probably the next step as well.
Yeah, and I think the other piece to it is not just looking at Octane quizzes as just like top of funnel entry points to conversion piece. The end of the day, you're basically creating a gateway to the relationship with your customer, or potential customer, and so, or a customer that has churned out. And I think using the quiz to talk to those customers and even just making it easy to get feedback, I think that's another big portion of it. Like, why have 25% of our customers not purchased from us a second time, right? Creating that dialogue and making it easy for them to share that experience. I think we could learn a lot from that piece of it too, and that's something that I think we always love to learn.
Yeah. And then I think a secondary part, which we briefly discussed, is using quizzes for customer retention too, right? So if somebody came in and purchased a collagen protein, now finding out what some of their other goals are, and we can suggest any of our other products to them too. So like Ron said, it's not just the top of the funnel strategy. It's it can be for retention, and then also just data for us to understand what the customer is looking for. And again, developing our product roadmap or making changes to our current product line as well.
We have a couple more questions of the audience I want to make sure we get to. It's just like, there's a lot of people super curious. So actually I have one from earlier that I missed before about ads, which is, what's the budget that's actually good for, like, what budget do you need to do testing is, I think, what the question was. How much budget is the minimum for ad testing?
I would allocate like 10% of your total budget to testing, minimum. And then I would run ads for a full 5 to 7 days. Minimum 5, I would try for 7, because within the first 3 days, you don't get any data back from Apple, right? Like the Facebook ad account doesn't get any data back. So I would wait at least 5 minimum, stretch it to 7 if you can. Because I run my test from Sunday to Sunday, and whatever works, I kind of continue on, and then whatever doesn't work, shut it off and run the next test. Hopefully that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Let's see, one more question that from audience that we'll keep going. Do you currently push traffic direct to the quiz, or just have traffic going to the quiz from the website? So how are you driving traffic to the quiz? What's your thoughts on that?
Both. I think a majority of it right now is probably from traffic from the website is going to the quiz rather than direct to the quiz. Our retargeting goes straight to the quiz, but again, retargeting is very small budget.
We also plan to put our messenger bot, connect the quiz there a bit too, because a lot of people who are trying to ask some questions or create some dialogue with us, kind of take them to the journey of don't know where to get started type of thing. So just creating more entry points that has indirect flow through.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, putting on the homepage, like in the nav, is probably something that we're considering as well.
I would be super curious to see how that goes. We definitely see, like, a combination of, like, homepage, email. Actually, I know an article's coming out soon, I believe, from us on strategies that we've seen work really well on driving traffic to a quiz and getting conversion from it. I think Lisi can talk about that in the chat. I want to ask maybe some of a little bit more general questions about the business, which is like first of all, Ron, I need to say congratulations. I don't know if everyone's like, go to his Twitter, Obvi CEO. There's you're about to move into a new place. You like about to like hit like the anniversary for the company, all crazy things all happening at once. So that was the first thing I wanted to go and say. I actually I will have a question, which is like, how do you manage time, both of you, to like do all these things and like, you know, also like move and like get married and have everything? That's my God.
That's tough. It's at least me personally, I live and die by my calendar. I think even something as small as like going to dinner with my wife, we put it on the calendar, and all the way down to the next 15-minute meeting we may have, you know, internally here, put it on the calendar. And I think just structuring the life a little bit around that, it feels a little robotic some days. But I think mentally preparing yourself the night before I sleep, I read my calendar for the next day. Just mentally preparing yourself so nothing hits you in the face. I think it is a big piece of it.
I wish I was as organized as this guy. I feel like just with at least with everything like paid marketing going on, it's like it's tough to really have a pulse on everything, or like have a laid out calendar, right? Because like one thing could happen and it's like, all right, well, your whole day is like messed up. So trying to step away from, I think I have a better cadence now of like when I actually go into our ad accounts, when I actually make changes and setting a schedule for myself. So I'm kind of trying to learn from him where it's like, just schedule things out and have a process in place that you follow. Cause like I'm the worst when it comes to that. Like sometimes I'll be 5-10 minutes late to meetings because I forget about what's on my calendar. So
reminders. Ash lives and breathes by Triple Whale and the entire ad platform, ROAS and all that. So his mood is fully dependent on that. But it's tough when you have something so tactical to manage, whereas a lot of what everyone else manages is, okay, I got to get this done, or I got to place this order, right? Or I got to talk to this person. Whereas his is like, he's got to check how the last hour's CPA was, otherwise adjust or cut budgets. You know, it's totally different type of management. And so it's hard. It's hard to organize that.
Okay. So you mentioned the tools, and this question I was about to ask actually, and then actually I have a segmentation question because you mentioned it earlier, so we'll go back to that. But what are like you'd mentioned Triple Whale, which is a dear friend of the show, and they'll be on the show in the near future. But how are you, like, what are the tools you're using to measure? How are you measuring this? How are you using Triple Whale in particular? But are there other tools that that you're using that you really love or that are really important for your business?
You want to start?
Yeah, I think from my end, the biggest piece is I'm in this love-hate relationship with Ash with marketing, because as he's going through and doing whatever's working for him on the marketing front, I have to kind of push and pull the levers with inventory. And I think my favorite sheet is obviously, my favorite tool is having live tracking on inventory. And although it's a tool created by our 3PL, just being and using partners that have good tools is also a key piece to it. And so watching that thing like a hawk, you know, down to like every hour, every other hour is kind of my main tool. And then everything else is so much more planning, forecasting, ordering, blah, 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 blah. But I think that honestly, as much as you probably look at attribution, I'm looking at inventory.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, like you said, I mean, I live and die by Triple Whale. Shout out to the team. You know, these guys have built such an incredible platform that we like. I think AJ reached out to us back like last year in March, and we had hired a data intern to build out something similar where it's like not even as robust as Triple Whale was, but like just to understand just hourly trends, our CPAs, how much we're spending an hour and what the ROAS was and things like that, just so that we can get a good measure on things. And AJ messaged me and said, listen, we're building this out. Let us know what you think. And honestly, since then, I love showing people the time usage on my phone for Shopify and Facebook Ads Manager, because they're all the way at the bottom now, and like Triple Whale is like right at the top. That's literally that's the only thing that I look at now day to day. It's really good for monitoring. Since we're in growth mode right now, we're spending a ton of money on marketing. It's really good to monitor your NCPA, right? So, Ron and the finance team kind of put together a financial model. They say, hey, you need to be at this CPA for new customers. If you're hitting it, great. If you're below it, scale. If you're above it, figure it out. So I love being able to track our NCPA, new customer acquisition cost, daily, how much we're spending across each channel. And then obviously, the percentage between new customers and old returning customers. This way we can understand, hey, is this a retention heavy day? Do we need to bump the budgets and kind of, bring that balance back to new customers? Or is there too many new customers? Do we need to send out a campaign and get some recurring revenue in? And then the attribution, tool that they developed, the Pixel, has been a godsend. I mean, optimizing your ads just based off of these channels, on platform data like Facebook's ad manager and TikTok's ad manager. If you're optimizing based on just that data, you're really not going to make it. You need something else that is validating these results instead of relying on the data that Facebook is getting. And even the data that Facebook is getting is modeled data. So I don't know how much I can trust it. I don't know if marketers can even, remotely trust it. So I need something to kind of be my North Star. And as soon as I started using Triple Whale's Pixel for attribution as our North Star, things got a lot better. Because, one thing that might be working, Facebook might not be like attributing the purchases back to that certain ad, and you might be turning off a winner. So, just, optimizing, and it doesn't have to be Triple Whale. It could be anything that you can use as an attribution tool. Use something, follow it, pick one thing and follow it, and then see if your CPA starts to drop, right? Because I know when I was optimizing based on Facebook was telling us that we were doing phenomenal. So there wasn't anything to do, but like on our back end, it's like, well, what's happening, So, I think Triple Whale has been such a great platform to use, no matter what the size of the business is. I mean, you pretty much have everything there, from top line revenue to you can input every single expense that you have and look at your net profit as well. So yeah, I mean, it's such a great tool that I think everybody needs to use.
We only have a couple minutes, and I have a few more questions, and I want to make sure we try to get in the, I know the YouTube audience is going to be like, super excited. We share all these on YouTube. Hello, YouTube commenters. So we talked about the segmentation, but we didn't actually dive deep into that. So how are you using the zero-party data you're collecting with the quiz and everything? How are you segmenting your customers? How do you perfect that?
Easy
questions.
I think the biggest piece is for us, if we're looking at the brand if you segment it by product first, right? And then you take who is this product going to be best fit for, right? And then you use the questions that you have tailored in your quiz and group them properly, right? And set up and say, okay, if someone's answered this, and this, then we're going to segment them out and give them this campaign on email and this campaign on SMS. And then whatever Ash is doing on the advertising end too. I think the biggest piece for us is we're using the questions to funnel into product offering.
By the way, before I forget, you had a tweet recently, Ron, about 3PL and the best 3PL. Like, what? I know it's complete aside, and then I have one last question after this. But what makes for a great 3PL or great shipping charge? Because we talk a lot about the marketing side, but you got to be able to ship those products out. So, and that's like, as I have learned, your domain of the business.
Yeah, I think what makes the best 3PL is number one is communication. I text with every single person on the team every single day there. How are things going? Sometimes just checking in. Did anything arrive? Is anything delayed? We have them on text, phone call, Slack, email. I mean, I'm talking 5 to 6 methods of communication. And that communication piece, to be that nimble from, your entire account manager all the way up to, someone who runs the entire facility, it helps us because you feel like you're getting taken care of. Things are going to go wrong. Things get delayed. We have back orders sometimes, but to know that it's taken care of and that someone's on it and has solutions there, that's huge. And then I think the second piece that is important about a 3PL is that they understand the business you're in. Our 3PL understands we're in the business of D2C with a little bit of retail, and we can scale today, but we can also slow down tomorrow, and then we can hyper growth tomorrow, the next day. And they understand that piece and are able to, almost say, hey, sometimes, you'll have a conversation with the owner and you'll be like, oh, you had a slow month, we're ads a little slow, or hey, you had a great month, you must have been doing great on advertising. And even having that dynamic, sometimes you get somebody that you can talk to more than why was this order messed up. And when you have positives to talk about with partners that are not as sexy as marketing, it's fun. It makes the process fun. So it's just I think find a good partner that cares, has good tech, understands your business, and has good communication.
Last question. We've hit the time mark, but I wanted to ask, like, what's next for Obvi? And maybe my sub question will you ever raise? Will you always bootstrap? But like, what's next for the business?
I think the biggest piece in terms of what's next for the business is we're trying to get into more categories that are different from just, the health and wellness offering, but we're trying to do it the same strategy that we've been doing it with the product expansion that we've done. So I think what's next for Obvi is how can we get into all the cabinet space for our customers, right? So when you open your cabinet, and right now there's Obvi taking up one shelf, what's on the other shelves? What else is in your kitchen, or what else is in your life that Obvi can create a solution for? And we wanted to be nimble at that, but also be, strategic, because we have a customer base that is live, fresh, and excited. And in terms of raise, I think we're always having conversations. But I think we're in the same accord of until we need it, we don't want to go down that journey, because we've been able to do what we've done with 8 people and 10K in investment. So see how far that takes us, right?
I completely understand, as somebody who's on the other side of the table raising money. There's a pro and there's a con.
Yeah.
But it's super awesome to see everything that you two have been able to do with the business. And I could ask like 100 more questions about things in your quiz and the business. And I will another point, but we've got to wrap up. I just want to thank you both for coming on and sharing some insights about how you built your business, how you built your ads, how you built your awesome quiz. We'll definitely, have to share that with everyone. And we'll be sending it out in our email and our newsletter. So for everyone, just, where can they find you? Where can they find your Twitters, where they can find your products?
Follow me, Twitter, at Ashwin Melwani. If you want some collagen in your life, myobvi.com. We also just launched a vitamin shop nationwide. So if you are by a vitamin shop, please go check it out. Don't need to buy anything. Just take a picture and tag us in it. That'd be awesome. And then where can they find you?
On LinkedIn. I try to be on LinkedIn. Just look up my name, or Twitter is Obvi CEO, but I'm not anywhere as big as Ash. So follow Ash. But yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah, nationwide vitamin shop. And yeah, if you can support us on Amazon, website, anywhere, that means a lot.
And let us know if you have any questions. Our DMs are always open.
Awesome. And yes, tweet them, DM them. And for everyone, thank you again for coming for another edition. I think this might be the 11th show that we've done. And we have some awesome people coming on the next couple of weeks. octaneai.com/community. If you all want to get the updates and hear about who's next and get the videos because we'll be posting the recordings of this recording, and we have the recordings of the others on our YouTube channel. But thank you all again for coming. Thank you, Ash. Thank you, Ron, for sharing your insights. Just glad to actually get some virtual FaceTime. We'll have to get some real virtual drinks at some point.
Absolutely.
Come by the office, all that fun stuff.
100%.
But thank you, everyone. Thank you for spending extra 5 minutes, spending your hour with us. We will see you next week, same time, same place. As awesome e-commerce operators like Rod and Ash will be here sharing their insights. So see you all soon.
Take care, guys. Thanks for having us.